This is the first of our um, live video cast. Hopefully, kung okay ni, then we can make this an ongoing thing. And anyway, I'm Paul Corpus. I started scouring the net for anything old, old Davao images. Siguro mga when I came over there sa Canada, mga 2000, 2000, and then napansin ako nga wala kay makita. So I started scouring, and then ay mga away-away put nga makita na ako. And that started off the passion. So naalala ko yung makita siguro mga probably less than 200 over the course of time. And then when I joined Facebook, siguro mga kailan ako, like Ian, nag-share siya, Ian Garcia. And then almost siguro mga two albums worth, or roughly mga less than 300 or less than 400 nga mga images of old Davao. So anyway, year 2011 nag-start ko sa Davao of the past, and then siguro it was just dormant nga account. I placed all what I found sa net, and then it was just dormant. It was just there, and then nain naka-discovery, and then that started it off, and then pasa na share and then by the first year, na po ubay-ubay ng mga followers. What I thought of during that time was that kay tungod nga wala kaayo ko'y makita, siguro ang naging idea nako was probably people can share kung sa'y nasa ilaha, instead of relying kaning mga conventional nga methods like digital archives. Siguro ang akong una was probably there's a lot more to be found sa mga sa ilaha mga photo albums. So, and then people started sharing, and then so on, and then I thought of, wow, dakhan gid ay nga kuan interest. Ako lay na interest sa inang klaseng kuan. I mean, looking at old pictures. And then I realized na dakhan day mga tao nga interested ana. And fast forward probably, a year later, and then it went on, and ay mga nag-contribute, and then I also discovered nga, I mean, murag referral na lang ba nga way, tanaw ni ba dito sa inani nga site, and then so to na ko makitaan, and then it was probably the power of sharing ba nga wherein people would contribute something they know, and then atuon ako, and then I post it kung ako makita, and then what I found was this one, and then leading to the other, and then people nga with like-minded pud nga mga interest, and then later I think kailan ako si Jaja Bariga, and then she shared what she had, and then si Vincent Garcia, and then sharing what he had, and then si Andy Villa, si Shiba Mang. I mean, that started off people even from the academe nga nag-share o unsay naa sa ila. So it's sort of like it just sort of struck me nga. Indeed nga, wherein Davao of the past is indeed a crowdsourcing of anything old Davao. Okay, you know, it's just not one person having so much, and then yung murabag ikaw rin na monopoly of anything old Davao, and then people often in the interest of trying to isa ni in the interest of trying to expand po kung say na sa ila, they would share, and then ang uban share, and then people start collecting, and then like for example si si Vincent Garcia, he showed me grabbing a collection of anything old Davao, and ano ko nga, wow, daghang gid ay kayong nai-interest on old Davao. But to my mind was that I just didn't rely on a number of people nga mga kailan ako, kundi I would always get messages from sa DOTP or Davao of the past, nga people I don't know, and I sort of like, people do indeed have very historical images in their own photo albums, which sila siguro mismo they didn't realize nga they had a lot. And it's just when people point it out to you nga, oh, naaw de kay nani, and then you realize nga ang importance ana ba nga mga photo albums nimo nga you indeed have something historical. And sometimes it would often trigger something wherein you'd be interested in your own history, you'd be interested in other people's history and background and unsa ba. So for me, Davao of the past is something for me wherein it has become a passion, wherein for me, I have my own background and I know my own history, pero it's not really much, and then people have their own sense of history o sense of knowing unsay naa sa ilahang background nila, and then they would share it, and then that expands my own learning, and some people would napud sila ilahang ika-share, and then it expands ang imuhang sense of history and sense of knowing who you are. Like for example, when I started Davao of the past, wala kay ko idea of what old Davao was, and then when I started finding more, and then when people started sharing more, and then I realized na, wow, dako gid ang wa na ko nahibalan on old Davao. So it takes sometimes ba nga wherein you have to bring it out in the open, and then when people share, and then when people give you whatever they had, that expands what you know, and then you realize nga there's just so much to Davao, kumbaga, that we don't know, and then we just sort of like murag wa kay pakialam. Like for example, when I had like what I would call missing links ba in terms of Davao images, like for example nga, wakay ko'y makita on the Nikkei Jin or even the Japanese themselves, mga Japanese nga migrants, wala kay ko'y makita mga old images of them. So I thought of siguro mura sila og kwan, mura sila, for me they were the missing links. And even the pre nga kwan, pre-American or the Spanish nga time wherein wala kay koy makita. It was just years after wherein people start sharing something about mga forefathers sila, katong mga Japanese nga kwan, mga Japanese nga ilahang mga Japanese nga mga ancestors. And then I realized nga kuan po dahil daghang pong mga sincere and well-meaning mga old Japanese mga well-meaning mga Japanese laborers or migrants who came over just to earn a decent wage to support sa ilahang mga family. So it's just sort of like a realization sa kuha. It's like a journey para sa kuha personally, because I came to know what Davao was. And for me, it's very important for me personally to know history. Because it's very important to know history, because you know who you are. You know ang mga hinaguan sa imuhang mga ninuno, just so nga it paves the way for you to have a very decent life and a comfortable life. Like for example, ang akong parents, I mean, like for example, my father came over sa parang sa una just to support his squad. Ang iyang mother or my lola was that naisakit, so that he had to support the family. So he had to go with my lolo dito sa parang just so nakikita makatabang siya sa iyang pamilya. So that trigger sort of like the change ang course sa iyang life. So nato siya mati, nakailan niya ang ako ang mother, and the rest nagkaroon siya pamilya. So my own sense of history, I got to know more of my family. Now, people have their own sense of history. They know more of unsa giagihan sa ilang mga ninuno. And then, for me, it's very important to know our own history, because it is who you are, kumbaga. Davao of the past, for me, has played a very important role sa akong kinabuhi, because other than it is a passion for me collecting, scouring the net of anything old about. Aside from that is ang learning nga nahatag sa kuha, because I wouldn't even imagine myself, like for example now, doing this kind of thing. I know I was interested in history, but that was only sa kuha. I love reading historical ng mga kuha, anything about history. But yeah, and when I started DOTP, then that led on to this kind of pursuit, this kind of passion, and then I wouldn't even imagine doing this kind of thing now. So for me, ang kwamba, wherein that of the past has gave me so much meaning, siguro, personally. And and I find it a joy wherein people start learning of their own history through the of the past, and it inspires them to also seek something ba of their own mga histories of seeking, uh, I mean getting out of getting to know ilahang ang kung sa giagihan sa ilahang mga parents, kung sa giagihan sa ilahang mga ninuno, just so nga wherein it gives them a comfortable life later on. I'm also nalipay po ko kay there are people who are inspired by the page, and they start off ganing ilahang mga kuan na sila mga pages nga of their own place. So that gives me joy. But other than that, siguro, I realize nga how rich my own life was when I learned about when I started off ang DOTP. Like for example, I get to understand ang mother, her love of food. So now katong I just didn't realize nga why my mom loved so much of food, ang iyang love of food ba. So we go this as a part 2. Okay. My mother was really a huge fan of going to restaurants, and I just I wasn't paying attention for that. Like for example nga when I was katong under treatment pa ko for rheumatic heart disease, and ang clinic ni kinsa ni doktora Pangan sa may Bolton. And after that we would go sa Princess nga kitchenette, and I just think I realized nga wow, ang mother na siya penchant, or I don't know what to call it, pero na siya passion for food, and she would bring us and iyang kids to any restaurants. Like for example, sa Mati sa una nga naay pipila ka restaurant like Bordas, and then there's a small Chinese nga restaurant nga after church she would bring us there makaon ginagmay. And then when we moved to Davao, my mom would bring us like dito sa Merco, which was I remember the three Marcos nga ang sa ko na ko mahibala na ko was one was sa San Pedro, which was between Lyric o Crest, and then another was the goody-goody nga Merco sa may Aldivinco, and then there's one sa may Claveria. So my love of food started with her. I mean, obviously, okay. Di na ba ko basta she would bring us to mga restaurants. Like for example, San Pedro Street, it had like I'm not sure. I mean, if there were lots, but to me there were a few nga mga Chinese restaurants, like International Restaurant, and then kaning San Pedro Restaurant. Pero every time nga naami important nga occasion, dito mi dalhon sa akong mother sa what do you call that, sa International Restaurant. Anything nga naay occasion dito gid mi dalhon. I don't know why, but to us when ang kuan mo was pag special nga kuan is Chinese food. So it's also probably it triggered my kuan or I got to love Chinese food, not the take out kind kundi katong the dine in kind nga Chinese food wherein you are relaxed, you're enjoying your food, no, you're not in a rush, um, and then we would gather as a family. Usually, it was my dad, my mom, and then four of us siblings, and then we were just enjoying food. But other than that, I mean, I know there were lots of other Chinese restaurants like San Pedro Restaurant. Later on ako ganahan sa mo to San Pedro Restaurant because of the lomi. I don't know anong lami magagailang lomi. There's also another one which was a famous restaurant, and then that was I think Uyangoren, and then there was another one Kusina Davao. Pero when I say Chinese food, ang akong makonda dayon was international restaurant. I think that was probably dool sa katong sa Borgaili yata. But I mean, San Pedro is just a short ganing nga strip in. There's quite a number of restaurants. So 60s and 70s and 60s and 70s, there's only two kinds of cuisine ng mga kuhanin mo. One was Chinese cuisine, and the other one was the Filipino cuisine. That probably sort of like limited lang nga kuhan ba nga scope on what was available nga mga cuisine there sa Davao, mga restaurants nga kuhan isang klaseng cuisine. I think it was in the 90s wherein things started opening up for any other a lot of other like for example churro opened up, and I realized nga lamig yun ay ang Japanese nga cuisine. And then there's one, I think there was the first nga nakatilaw ko like Vietnamese nga cuisine there was one dool sa Good Earth or Shoe Earth or Good Earth nga katindahan. And after I left Davao, probably there were more started like klaseng cuisine, but during my time diha, it's just a limited few, and that was it. There is nothing. I don't know. It was when I was here, doon ako nakakuha ng mga Indian, or anything Middle Eastern. But during or even my trips to Singapore, wherein I started having widen ang taste. But in the 60s and 70s, it was just very limited nga mga cuisine ang available. Probably then because during that time Davao was small and it was very laid back, and there was just a few mga restaurants and a number of restaurants, Filipino kaning mga Filipino owned or kaning mga Chinese migrants owned, yung mga Filipino like Harana, Sarong Bangi, Davao Bohol. It's just a few really I was really exposed to kaning segment that I would say. I mean, I would kaning segment sa restaurants nga segment of the live video. Probably because my exposure was limited siguro, kumbaga. But during that time, my taste was probably simple. Okay, una, ganahan naman ko say na. And then, um, na siguro kung makadto lang Manila, then di pa ka makakita gubat. Pero Davao during that time, it's just simple na laid back, easy nga kinabuhi. Ang journey of anybody with regards to cuisine, I mean, sometimes it can be very enjoyable nga journey because that in any gathering, pag kung magtapok ra mo, way kuan, I mean, food always perks up, diba? Kumbaga, the gatherings because that's where you enjoy those gatherings because of the food. I mean, anything, any gathering without food, I mean, what, sana, no? But with food, that just perks up anybody's, joy. Kumbaga, it's a trigger for people to enjoy. And that Davao during that time in the 60s and 70s, it's the Davao nga we're in that's stuck in my mind because it's the Davao nga I know my parents saw with their own eyes of what Davao was. And probably it's one reason why I started off getting Davao Pass, because I want to see Davao wherein through their eyes. It's the Davao they saw during that time. And sometimes it sort of like creates may intrigue ako on what they saw in Davao. For example, like my dad was a migrant. I mean, he came from he grew up in Manila and Baguio, and when he decided to stay in, like, for example, Davao Oriental, I'm just, it's an unanswered question. Okay, wala naman siya. And he never explained fully why he liked Davao. Probably because he got to know more people here, maybe. Okay. And then he found the simple, the life here, medyo simple during that time, maybe. But Davao, for me, is a lot of the Buenos really doesn't know. Davao was a very rich history, and it's something worthwhile for any avid student of history to learn Davao, because Davao became what is now through the hardships of immigrants. If not for that, I mean, what is Davao kung wala ng mga immigrants? It is so rich of history and so diverse of thinking of anything because of the migrants or immigrants, people bringing in their own cultures and backgrounds to this or to Davao, which makes it really very interesting. I can't think of any reason, but Davao is indeed a very rich place because of people, a lot of people coming in, bringing their own histories and backgrounds. Growing up, I was just like surrounded by many dialects and languages. Like for example, nga naami sa Mati, and then my lola would probably a little of the Chabacano during that time. Ang Mandaya, I mean, it's just funny how you would listen to your own tongues, your own dialect or language, because it creates a sort of like a comfort zone that you don't realize you have. Okay, for example, when ning dako naman ko og Davao City, every time I go to Oriental, and then once you get to hit kaning boundaries sa Oriental, and then matingala ka makong ka nga mga tao kalik naglahi ang kuan ba ang sinultian puro na kamayo, Minandaya or Dinabaw, and kalit na lang ma-feeling mo nga nakay kuan naging kuan ka naka sa imong comfort zone. Ako di man kay ko ingon nga, I mean, I don't really know much about Kinamayo or Dinabaw nga dialect. But my cousins, I mean, sila kay dito mga sila nagdako sa Mati. So they know more, they can converse comfortably sa Dinabaw nga dialect. Unlike ako, murag na saksak sinagol kay I grew up nga naana na I hearing that, and then my mother kay tungod sa in respect sa akong father would talk to us in Tagalog, and then ang mga silingan namo Bisaya, so it's just a kind of like a confusing blend of the language. So, morning lang kana. I mean, if you are in Davao City, when you say Dinabaw, murag baon na yung kay halo-halo gani. But when you go to Oriental, it's just funny how it sounds ba kay murag nag-away nga murag kuan, pero katuday na magkinataw na and then it's fun listening to your own language, especially after a long absence gani kay nag-anaman mi sa Davao City. Other than that, katong pag-uli na ako, I wanted to, for example, pag-uli na ako, I wanted to expose my son to the language, pero wala kaayo niya makuan kay pag-uli na ako, puro naman Bisaya. Mura bag na-relegate gani ang Kinamayo or Dinabaw. Siguro kung naakuan ako ang mga the old ones, mas na-expose siguro siya. Kaya lang siguro in respect nga kuan, like to my son. My son, he understands more ang Bisaya or Tagalog than ang kwan. He doesn't really have a clue kung unsa nang Dinabaw. So I wanted him to be exposed to that. I don't know. Hopefully when he goes back and he gets to visit Davao again, then I would hopefully when my sister brings him over dito sa Mati, and then dito makuha niya ma-expose siya kung saan ang Dinabaw nga dialect. Other than that, love of the past, it's sort of, for me, it is really a community, because it brings in a lot of like-minded people with passion for the history of Davao, and it brings in people who wants to understand Davao more, and it brings in people who wants to share what they know of the history. So I mean, like, personally, I don't know much, and then I'm happy when people start, like somebody has a question, and then somebody answers that question. Like, for example, when I post some pictures and I just don't have an inkling kung kinsa ni, and then like si Manong Bimboy would say nga mao ni, or si Vincent Garcia mo Bimboy Tionco or Vicente Tionco mo kuan nga mao ni, and then si Vincent Garcia would share what he knows. For me, that is what community should be, okay? Because I don't have really, in all honesty, I don't have all the answers to a lot of people's questions. For me, siguro ako mura lang kung it's just, I'm just sort of like a middleman who just encourages people to just share whatever they have. And I got to appreciate other people's, like for example, the older generations sharing their experience, sharing what they know, and then the younger generation wanting to know more. For me, it's a satisfaction really, and once in a while I get to find a lot of old mga images we're in not many people know, and the acceleration of finding those images, balipay, it always excites me, because this is really what DOTP is. It's people contributing what they have to the history of Davao. As I've said before, and I'll say it again now, no one man can dictate or can be behind the history of Davao. It's everybody's contribution. It's a community we're in. People contributing of themselves to make history in Davao, or the history of Davao. It's, for me, it's the common tao who, or the masa who makes history. It's just not one person, but it's the community who contributes to the history of Davao. Okay, everybody of us, it's just that the politico makes history, but it's everybody of us contributes to the history of Davao. It's just not one person. That, for me, what is Davao, or what Davao is. It's just a blend of so many things, and for me, I'm happy na nakakontribute ko and I'm happy that also people are are contributing to the page really, and it is what it is. It is the love for Davao. Anyway, so I'm hoping, if this goes out well, I'm hoping that we can do more. We can have more episodes of this ang kaning live sessions. Just warning. Sorry pagtanaw sa mga comments. Okay, where are you? I have no way of reading the comments. But anyway, that probably wraps up ang initial live videocast na to. Maybe next time I can have a proper nga topic. Maybe the next episode would be just devoted to one topic, and then we can just expound on it. For now, it's just an intro of the DOTP of Dab of the Past, and then naikon kami sa restaurants. And so, thank you very much for being with me on the initial live video. Hopefully, the next time you will also maminaw po mo or matala mo sa live video. Anyway, have a good day all, or have a great weekend. This is, for me, I'm just, there is a Toronto is just a start of our day, and yours is halos pa end na sa day. Anyway, so have a great weekend, have a good day, enjoy the rest of the day. Okay, bye.